Remember Flappy Bird? This is him now. Feel old yet? Flappy Bird has been covered to death, so let's keep the origins brief. Made by Dong Nguyen from the company Dot Gears and released May 24, 2013, it eventually became the #1 free game on iTunes download charts by January 2014. Gameplay has one control: press anywhere to flap. You're playing for a high score where each pipe is a point. It inspired countless clones trying to cash in on the hype. The craze for Flappy Bird may be long gone, but the fun continues today with this clone. Say hello to Flying Tickets, the totally original IP made by Adrenaline Amusements. I couldn't find a date of release, but it looks like the earliest footage is from September 10th, 2014. Whoa, hold it. It's called Flappy Tickets here. This machine here at the arcade calls it Flying Tickets. So did they change the name? Makes sense to not outright take a keyword from the original when you're bootlegging it. So I'm guessing at some point they decided to update the name? No, they didn't. Here's another 2014 trailer with the Flying Tickets name. So you're telling me they had the same game under two different names at once? I guess that makes sense with game releases in different regions. The first is from a UK-based company, but I'm not convinced if this applies here, as there are some American arcades that carry the Floppy Tickets version. But wait, there's more! Here's a third version, the Dave & Buster's Special Edition, where the D&B logo is a stand-in for the first vowel in floppy. I am so confused right now. But let's just move on. For the rest of the video, I'm going to be calling it Flying Tickets. Surprise, surprise, the gameplay is similar to Flappy Bird. Press one button to make your bird flap. But hey, these birds get helmets. You'll get 1 point for every pipe you safely pass, along with 5 for every candy cane looking pipe you come across. The objective of this game is to work towards the jackpot, which is an amount set within this range. To get the jackpot, you'll need to reach a bounty which begins at 80 points. Every time someone gets the jackpot, the next bounty will be 20 points higher. At every arcade I've been to, this seems to reset back to 80 after a day. The further you get in Flying Tickets, the harder it gets. The gap between the pipes starts pretty wide, but the longer you play, the more they'll close in. You'll eventually start to see these moving pipes, and the longer you survive, the more there will be. For a game that's just one button, there actually is a lot of strategy to consider. Before you even start flapping, the first thing you should do is never play as player 2. See how the second player is a little closer to the right? You'll need to react faster as player 2 than you would on the player 1 port. If you pick player 2, you are at a disadvantage from the start. As for controlling the bird, it's important to keep your composure and play patiently. Don't panic and randomly press the button. You gotta get a feel for how the bird jumps and when to break your momentum with another jump. Get used to the rhythmic timings of how to control the bird. It's also important that you get comfortable with letting your bird fall. With the correct timing, you can always spam the button when you need to get back up again, but the timing to reach lower pipes makes it crucial you fall early. The manual does claim there is a system where the arcade can set how many losses are needed before the machine is ready to pay out. Honestly guys, this game is still winnable. This setting might try to make the game harder, but I'd like to believe it's still an honest challenge. Most of the time, the losses are on you. Sometimes you'll get screwed by a bad pipe lineup, but even hard ones can be done with enough foresight on how to control your bird. I do find that sometimes this game will ignore your inputs. I'm not sure if this is because of the fair payout system, or if this machine has an unreliable button. One really annoying part of this game is how you can't play again until the machine finishes counting your tickets. You can always start again with player 2, but it's really not worth it. Another drawback that comes to mind would be that this game can be pretty slow to farm tickets when your gameplay is optimized. There's quite a few other redemption games where you can reach the jackpot more quickly, but this doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Since this game only ends when you make it end, it can in theory be one of the best ticket outputs at your disposal. The big trade-off here is time versus tickets, so it depends on what you value more. So how does Flying Tickets fare on the tier list? I'm going to have this game leading the B tier. You might think B tier is bad, but I believe games within B tier are still viable options. but it starts to get a little more questionable the further you venture below. In my opinion, flying tickets is way harder than most other skill-based arcade games, since it's going to require a lot more practice to maximize the ticket efficiency. It's still an excellent option for making tickets, but you better be ready to put in the practice to get there.